Here we go. Welcome. Episode 3 of the Run the Tibby podcast, where we debate all things basketball through a coaching and training lens. My name, Steven Diaz. I'm here, as always, with Harry Hayes and TJ Tibbs. We are going to talk spicy today. Spicy talk today. Let's get right into it. Harry, question for you. You're a parent, you bring your kid to a workout. If you walk into a workout and you see your kid doing blank, leave. What is it? Talk
All right.
about the blank.
I first want to say that you said I got one question for you. Like, this isn't the whole question for the whole episode. So this is the question. So that's
Did I
first
lie?
off.
Did I
No,
lie?
you didn't lie. You really do have one question for me. But I got mad answers. So answer number one is if you walk into a gym and see your kid doing nothing. If you see your kid is literally on a line with 10 people, you should leave because you are, one, wasting your time. Two, what that tells you is the trainer either has no experience or just has no idea how to run a group workout, because there's a million ways that you can get kids involved to the point where they don't have to wait a minute. Like, if your kid or you are the kid and you are doing nothing other than you're just watching other people work out for a minute straight, you are wasting your time. Think about how many shots you can get up in a minute. You know what I mean?
So what's the acceptable number of people that can wait on the line?
I think that's actually a really hard question. I don't know. It kind of depends.
10 is outrageous.
10 is crazy. 10 is crazy. But I think it also depends what you're doing. You know what I mean?
It depends on how many people are at the workout. How many people are at the workout?
One hoop. Let's say one hoop, everybody has a ball. One hoop, one trainer, everybody has a ball. What's the most people that should be in that workout waiting on the line?
6.
So give or take 5 to 7.
Yeah, like that's the thing. So it's hard to like hammer down that ratio because it depends what you're doing and it depends the skill level of the kids that you're working out. So if I have a group of kids like we had been accustomed to working out where you could pretty much just show a thing to and let them rep it out, and we had me and Steven, rebounding and passing them the balls back, the workout is going like this. But if you're working out like younger kids who you have to stop and explain what's going on, the amount of time that you're going to do nothing is going to increase because, one, just the kids are moving slower. So if I'm doing, all right, between the legs cross, go to the basket, take a one dribble pull up, that might take 10 seconds for like an 8-year-old to do who hasn't done that before. Whereas like a Division I kid is doing that in 2 seconds. You move on to the next guy. And then that adds up to the point where the guy at the end of the line or the girl at the end of the line has done nothing for way too long. So that's my first thing. I don't know. It's really hard to answer that question. I'm sorry. I don't know what the max amount is, but I know there's a max amount of time. I would say that's the answer I have. If you're legit waiting a minute, leave.
I think it's fair for a third of the workout to be waiting for something else to happen.
Yo, what's up with these analytics? A third? Where do you come up with these numbers from?
If you have 9 guys in a workout, and
I know it's 3. You don't challenge me on my math. I'm just saying, when did you start making this podcast analytically? You trying to work for the Houston Rockets?
we gotta play the intro to the last one where he did the thirds.
What is he doing? A third? You sat there and that was your response? You
can't say a number, bro. You can't say a number.
You can't say a number, but you could say a fraction, which is a part of a whole number.
Exactly. You could say a percentage because the number of people in a workout is going to change every workout you go to if you're a trainer.
So if you have 15 people in a workout.
This is trainer talk. You wouldn't understand, okay? Yeah, you used to, constructed a roster, putting the names on the door, outside your office door, who made the team, who didn't make the team. You got the same kids. You got the same kids every day, all right? No, I think it has to be ratioed by the amount of people in your workout. And obviously it depends on what you're doing. I'm assuming you're doing the most that you can do or the most that you would want someone to wait if they had to wait.
Mm-hmm. It also comes into like how much money are you paying? You know, if you're paying $10, if I'm the parent, I'm paying $10 for what I know going in is a large group workout of maybe 20 kids with 2 hoops, then yeah, the weighting is going to be more than if you paid, let's say, $50 for. That's kind of why you pay more. You're
Yeah,
paying
I think
more.
that's a great point.
You're
Now, I
paying
think
more to do more.
I think the biggest thing with that, though, and you said it, is if you know beforehand the amount of people that are going to be there and the value now has decreased, but the dollar value represents that value decrease, then that makes sense to me if you know. But if like you're paying $50 for an hour workout, like all $50 hour workouts are not created equally, right?
Correct.
So if you have a $50 hour workout and there's 20 people there with one trainer, is way different than if it's a $50 one-on-one workout, obviously, right? So I do agree with that. And I know, obviously, I say all the time, training is a business. But I think when you reflect that there is one of you or two of you and there's a lot of kids being trained, to lower that dollar amount to make it fair. But let me ask you this, though, and this is a little bit off topic, but or maybe it's right on topic. But if people are paying it, is that a reflection of you or is that a reflection of the market? So if people are paying $50 for an hour and there's 30 kids in the workout and there's one hoop and one trainer, but people are paying it, is that just the market or does that make you a bad trainer?
I think, well, it could make you a good or a bad trainer. You know what I mean? Because let's say one person, and I'm not saying we are that one person or 2 people, but let's say one person is able to provide like a tremendous amount of value in the reps you're getting, even though you're not doing a lot of them, then maybe it's worth it. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing a move or learning a concept that is going to serve you well beyond that one workout, where the amount of reps you put into it, maybe you learn something that you could take home, you know what I mean? But then that goes into like the kid benefits from being able to comprehend stuff. So that's a whole nother conversation. But I don't know. I think it's possible, but Diaz, do you have a different answer than me?
I think that the market, we were kind of talking about this before with like recruiting kids. Like if D2 schools recruit you and that's all you have, then guess what? You're a D2 kid, no matter how much you think that you're a D1 kid. Like it's kind of dependent on I guess how much people are willing to pay. Like, guess what? If you go to Clove Lakes right now and run a one-on-one workout for $100 and they pay $100, then that's what you charge for a one-on-one workout, no? I don't think that a workout at Clove Lakes is worth $100 for any amount of time you're spending there. But you get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, I guess it's just dependent on, and then also if you're like renting a gym, I guess it would depend on how much you want to take home from that and things like that. But I don't think you should be charging anywhere over $50 for a personal training workout.
Yep. A lot of training has become babysitting type services or like camp, or you know what I mean? Like I don't want to say babysit. I'm not saying that people aren't teaching these kids something, but a lot of it is get a lot of kids in the gym and keep them occupied for an hour or two, you know? And parents have value in that, especially for smaller kids, especially on days where kids don't have school or maybe don't have anything to do in the summer. So there's a lot of value in keeping those kids occupied. So I think a lot of parents in those situations aren't paying for the same things that me and you and might pay for to send out kids. Like our main focus is, what are you teaching the kid? And for a lot of parents, their main focus is, how occupied can you keep them? How much fun they're going to have? I think where it kind of blurs the line where
how tired are they going to be when they get home? So they go.
How soon is my kid going to get to nap time after your workout? Can we talk about that?
But I think that's what goes into like, I don't want to call anyone a bad person, but if you are advertising like, yo, you're going to come to this workout, you're going to get elite basketball training, I'm an NBA trainer.
Yo, can we talk about that? I don't want to cut you off, bro. But can we talk about the overuse of the word elite and academy? And I get it. I get it. But
I'm just writing down what I was about to say, so I don't forget.
Elite and academy are only appropriate for people who run academies and who are elite. And it happens in the AAU basketball world too, right? Everybody is Central Jersey Sharks elite. And no offense to anybody if that's an actual team. Or North Dakota Cougars Academy elite. Blue. because the first team is just the North Dakota Cougars Academy elite, but the second team that's actually paying to play is North Dakota Academy elite blue.
Can I say the first time I think that ever happened? My roommate at IMG he is from Chicago. And I remember him telling me, yo, Mean Streets, Derrick Rose's AAU team, was always just Mean Streets. And then the year that Derrick Rose and Eric Gordon played, it was Mean Streets Express.
Yo, I like Express. Can we make Express great again? Like, I like Express instead of Elite. Like,
here on the Run the Tibby Express pot. Yo, that has a ring to it, though. I don't know, bro.
That sounds kind of fire, honestly.
Nah, but listen, there are some people I know that have academy like in their training names or trading companies, and they're developing kids like from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not saying that. I understand what you're trying to say, but the definition of academy is you can't just stamp academy at the end and just think that you're running an academy. Like, there are people who are actually beating on their craft that are doing great things that are academy-like. I know in theory, a lot of these guys don't run academies, right? They don't have their own buildings. It's not like that. But how they're approaching the building of kids is academy-like. So I think it's tough when we have the overuse of those words.
Harry, did you want to get into your second little thing on your list?
I just have another kind of layer or caveat to the point I was trying to make, is that when you look at, if you're a coach, right? And this is we kind of talked about it before on the first episode, but when you're a coach, you are used to seeing things run a certain way, right? And if you have a 15-guy roster, odds are at some point there are kids doing nothing during your practice. You know what I mean? Like, nothing in the sense that they're not physically active, but they might be watching. You say it all the time. If you're the guy that isn't getting the reps in, you still have to know the plays, like that type of thing. Do you think that Tibbs, as a coach, when you see kids, sponsored by Mountain Dew, when you see kids doing nothing, does that like give you a level of, I don't want to use the term like anxiety, but I know when I see kids that aren't doing anything in one of my workouts for like a certain amount of time, I know I have to change what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a line of 6 and I think it's taking too long, I'm splitting it into 2 lines of 3 and they're taking shots at the basket at the same time, because I can't watch kids do nothing.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Like, we've always used this term mental reps, right? And I think you have to teach people how to get mental reps. And I've worked kids out before, and I'll do it again. And I think in a training workout, small group situation, I actually don't think that the vast majority of players benefit from training, especially younger kids, benefit from training one-on-one, unless you're working on a specific skill, which is probably shooting. Like, you're reorganizing their shot, or, you're really working on the fine details that you really need all the attention on everything that the kid is doing. You're not getting a lot of reps. You're really teaching them from the ground up. But like I said, I think we need to teach kids how to actually get a mental rep. And in a basketball practice, especially when you go live, or you go 5-on-5 or 4-on-4 or whatever, you're going to have a lot of kids, 3 to 5, 6, depending on how many kids you have on your roster, that are literally standing there and doing nothing. You can't get a mental rep in basketball in live action because everything is unpredictable. Maybe if like you stop playing and say, oh, okay, we're going to run this play now out of this, you can go and watch, like, okay, I would be here. He's supposed to come up. Now he sets the screen. you can get that mental rep. But in terms of live action, you have to be really good to teach a kid to lock in on one kid and then really stand in an area where they might be at and say, all right, they should move here. Okay, this drove here. He should cut from here. Like, it's really hard to do that in live play. But in a drill or in a workout scenario, I think kids benefit from being in a small group more than they benefit from being by themselves. And I tell kids all the time, even kids in our program, watch the kids in front of you, because when I correct somebody, I'm correcting everybody. And you might not know you have this habit, and you might not be able to see this. And I know you guys are big with this. I have my phone on me, and I don't like to touch it during practice or in workouts, but I might break it out to film something to show it to the kid, right? Because kids are such visual learners today. iPads, iPhones, YouTube, everything is visual. They know iPads from when they're like 2 years old. So they learn visually. They might be able to utilize film better than they've ever. So when you're in a small group, and I think there's a value of getting a mental rep, you got to coach that and teach a kid, like, look, this is what you're watching for in front of you. And then you're listening for the key points of feedback that the coach is giving to the three kids in front of you before you get your rep. And then when you get your rep, even if you did it 100% correctly, you go to the back of that line and you get dummy reps. You got to get dummy reps. You have to go. So by the time you actually get a live rep in front of the coach that he's correcting, you've done 5 or 6 reps between mental reps and dummy reps. And that's something that we can't expect kids to all do at a certain level. You got to teach that. And that helps make workouts more effective because you're correcting less and you're not stopping less. I'm trying to figure out as a coach how we can make practice shorter, because kids' attention spans aren't that great. And we can say, oh, man, kids are changing. Yeah, there's a reason. We're changing. We're on our phones all the time. So we got to adapt to that. How can we make practice shorter? And how can we teach them buzzwords? Because this is how these kids are learning. They can't get through a 60-second video on Instagram. They just can't. And it could be something that they absolutely want to watch, but they can't, right? How many kids even listen to the full song anymore? Can you get through a full song with a kid on the aux? It's impossible. It's impossible. I've been getting it since the toddler. I've been dollars on my head, Skip. And I'm not gonna lie, because I do that too. I don't know how the rest of the song goes.
Should I go down this list now and on to number 2?
I have to say, before you go, I disagree that it's harder to get mental reps during live action as opposed to in a smaller setting. I think that I think anybody who's on a bench during a game and watching the game and is a cerebral mind of basketball, like has a brain when it comes to basketball, I think that they're like literally during a game, I think that they're getting mental reps in. But go ahead, Harry.
Okay, so number 2 ties into number 1. I think, and this is definitely a point of contention among even in this chat or in this Zoom, let alone the training community, I think the whole we're going to rep out this game action is a complete waste of time. So what I mean by that, and then I will relate this to point number 1. If I'm working you out and I'm like, okay, you run a flex offense at whatever school you go to, you run a flex offense. Here's what the workout's going to be. You're going to pass me the ball on the wing. You're going to do the UCLA cut. You're going to fake set a screen. You're going to come up, get the ball from me on a handoff, take 2 dribbles towards the middle, throw it to me, flare out to the corner, lift, catch the ball, take a 1-dribble pull-up. If the skill you want, let's be honest, at that point, the skill you are working on is a 1-dribble pull-up.
Hold on. Give me a second. I'm just making sure I got that down so I can put that in next year.
Anyway.
Okay.
Now that that's jotted. The skill you are working on in that workout is the one dribble pull up. That is the only thing that is skill related in that whole action of all the. You're gonna do your cut. You're gonna.
Why?
What do you mean why?
Like I know you were being like very like over the top with the action, but if you run the flex and you're coming off the flex cut and you're learning how to come off a flex cut and catch the ball and make a layup based on the angle you're going to catch the ball off the flex cut, is that not
so here's my thing, and it goes back to time management. If I take that whole action, there was basically like 4 parts to it, right? Like pass, cut, pop, pass, go to the corner, lift, shoot. Why are you not just lift shooting? You're just wasting time. And then going back to point 1, if you have more than literally 1 kid or 2 kids in that workout, now you have X amount of kids at the back of the line watching a 15-second rep. It's insane. The amount of nothing.
What if it's 1 kid in the workout though? Does it become acceptable?
I think it becomes different. I think it becomes a little more acceptable, but at the same token, you're still not developing that. That kid is not going to become a better one dribble pull-up shooter than the kid that just shot 10 one dribble pull-ups and moved on to the next thing. So that's my point.
Game shots from game spots is not a real thing?
You're misinterpreting the point. The game shot from the spot.
What?
Lift. I don't know why I did that. Lift, catch the ball, one dribble pull-up, shoot. This is the game shot from here to here to here. You don't have to do all this. You don't have to do all that just to simulate the offense that the kid probably already knows.
So your problem is that it should be more concise. That's your problem?
Yes.
Just get to the ending action.
Yes, get to the ending action.
Whatever that ending action is, just get to that and do that.
Right. Unless you are, I guess, part of the coaching staff and it's like a player development workout where the kids' cuts suck. Like you're not cutting properly. That's a whole different conversation. But I don't know,
man. I think I really, really disagree with you. And I would challenge you to watch. There's a video I watched a long time ago, and I'm sure it's still up on YouTube. It's the progression of passing, Oklahoma City Thunder. So it has like 1-on-0 workouts with like player development guys. It's got like Russell Westbrook and I think Durant is in there. And it's like literally shows how they teach certain drives and passes. And those guys and the Thunder, especially during that era, were a huge development organization. Those guys are doing exactly what you're saying you shouldn't do. Now, I will say that they're doing it very efficiently. There's not one wasted movement, but they are coming off a slot drive and throwing a hook pass to the opposite corner and then coming off a dribble handoff. Like, it may not be the exact action as may happen in the game, but they are working on 2 skills at one time. So now that they threw this pass into the corner off the slot drive, they're now coming off a dribble handoff from like the wing, like, or a logo ball or something. They're combining 2 things. So I don't mind that. I think there's because I don't think we coach passing enough, especially when you were trying to add new skills in the passing, one-handed passing, or you drive from here. This is where to look for the pass. So I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Like when you go to like training workouts, because we're talking about trainers, and there's all this stuff going on. I do. But what I would challenge people to say, because I don't agree with you as the premise as a whole, is that if you're putting something into a workout, ask yourself why you're doing this and why can't you take things out? For instance, right now we're going through drills in our program, and there's so many drills that everybody does, right? There's no secret. We're not creating a new drill, but what is the emphasis of the drill? And we 3-man weave, right? Boom. We talked about the 3-man weave, but like we can all run the 3-man weave, but we all run it for different reasons. Some people run it with a clock. Some people run it without a clock. The reason why I want to run it is you have to talk and there has to be a clock because of what I'm emphasizing, what I feel like I'm getting the most out of it. I need them to move fast and I need them to communicate. Everything else I might not want them to shoot a floater because that doesn't help with the time. So I do agree with your premise because you do see a lot of workouts where they're running off this, and especially with the creation of flat cones, kind of flat cones, tall cones, skinny cones of different colors, people that look like cones, or cones that look like actual people. So like there are so many cones out there, and then it's like so it's like, oh, how can I use this people cone and get them to go to this multicolored cone? Like, so I think that's what a lot of it goes into, and that's the marketing of training. That's the marketing of training.
Yeah, I think Harry's saying like, yo, if you see your kid running a slalom and then just taking a jump shot, and maybe he should do something different. But I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the conversation of something that a lot of people have a problem with in the training world is that, or coaches, or specifically TJ Tibbs has a problem with in the training world, is that kids go to these workouts and they're constantly working with the ball in their hands. So would you say Tibbs, would you say what Harry is saying, like flex screen, handoff, lift, drift, would you say that doing those things and then shooting a one dribble pull up is the way to supplement that or to solve that problem?
It's a great question. I think it can't directly be answered, but I think that specific thing, no, because it's already patterned for you. You're told where to go. I think my issue is learning how to react off the ball, or where do you go, or what does spacing actually look like. And I think to teach proper spacing, you actually have to take space away first. So it's like playing on not a half court as far as one side of the gym, but half of the actual court.
Whoa. What are we doing? All these fractions and all this and that. Did you say a half of a half? Did you say a half of a half?
That's actually a quarter.
Whatever.
If my mathematics is correct. Yes, it is. It's actually a quarter. It's 1/4. No, but playing on a half of a half court with less people, playing small-sided games, and teaching kids to maximize, right? So, yeah, play 3-on-3 at the end of your workout, right? And have some sort of emphasis. But instead of playing 3-on-3 using the whole court where everybody's drive looks outrageous because there's so much space for people to hit people with moves, just play on a half of a half court and then challenge people to really stay spaced on there, right? And then constantly give feedback. I'm a huge, especially like, and I think trainers, when you only have guys for like an hour, players for an hour, I say guys is a general term, guys and girls, but when you only have players for an hour, it's so hard. I always didn't get the idea, and I know you guys have done this in the past, but how can you work out somebody once a week? I just can't, I don't know how that's conducive to getting better, because to me, you got to see your trainer twice a week if it's an hour. To build on stuff, not for reps, because the reps are on the kids, especially as you get older. The reps are on the kids. Take this home with you. Take this to your gym, to your YMCA, to your park, and go rep this and come back. And we should be further along than you were here, so we can move on to something else, but we can build on it. But how can we build? There's 52 weeks in a year, and you're not going to see your trainer every week, especially when the season starts. So how can you build if you're only going once a week? So
that goes directly to point 3. Real quick, I just wanted to get this out before I forgot. You mentioned like the Thunder passing progression. I just think from coaching to training world, the difference is, especially at the NBA level, the amount of people that you have available to increase efficiency. Like, for instance, if I wanted to go try and intern as a player development for any franchise, I am literally signing up to be a dummy defender and a passer and whatever.
A human cone.
Right. I'm sure you'll get more out of it than that, but physically that's what you are there to do because you are increasing efficiency. If I go into a workout, I can barely run anymore. It's going to take longer for me to get you the ball than it is for you to run to your spots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that.
But let me ask you this point though, before you get to your next point, and I'll make this short. But isn't that to the point of your first thing about having kids wait online? Like, if you're going to, why not have them be one of those dummies and then just rotate them? You know what I'm saying?
Because now you're doing nothing.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying,
in my opinion, you shouldn't be a dummy in a workout that you are going to probably paying for and are hopefully trying to get better. That is X amount of time that you are also doing nothing, not getting better.
fair point.
It's my opinion. So to what you had said prior, going to point number 3, and this is where I guess me and Diaz will have a point of self-reflection is...
Wait, hold on. It's 1-1 right now. I think it's 1-1, by the way.
Wait, I'll take that.
Y'all gotta make up your mind if you gotta make up your mind if you're keeping score.
Which round did I win?
The first one.
Okay. It was hard for me to lose.
I think Tibbs won the second one.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Oh, here, number 3. Well, there's really nothing for you to say about this one. We're just going to agree. So the third one I have is wanting to, a trainer, right? If you go into a workout, especially with a kid for the first time that you might not see again for however long, it is very natural, and it's something that me and Steve did when we were first working out, a lot of the better players, is that you want to show as much as possible, right? Like, if I go into a workout, I want to prove to this person, hey, you should let me work you out again because here's all the things I can show you. Here's all the knowledge I have. Sometimes it's, hey, I am good enough to demonstrate all this stuff, especially like younger. That's a part of the game. You know what I mean? Just showing that you are mobile, as opposed to developing some type of progression, a workout that makes sense for that person at that time. You know what I mean? We used to go into workouts and just be like, yo, what's all of like, and here's just like a whole trainer culture thing. Like everything is, yo, that move was tough. That was tough. It's like we wanted to do as many like tough things as possible, but it's like that doesn't like the whole workout, that's tough. But you're never gonna do, not that you're never gonna do anything, but there's no build up if you're going from tough number 1 to tough number 2 and they don't relate at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I think that goes into not having a training philosophy as far as who you are and what you stand for, because you got to be, and I think a good resource for this is watching, and I forget what it's called on Netflix, the coaching. It's got Serena Williams, tennis coach, Doc Rivers is on there, Dawn Staley is on there, the old coach Jill from the women's national soccer team, and Josie Marino, who's a big time European soccer coach. It's I forget what it's called on Netflix, but go watch that. And a big thing that Serena Williams, Patrick, and I can't say his last name, Mortagon, I can't say his last name, but
the playbook.
The playbook, yeah.
Sorry.
So a big thing that that Patrick said, who coaches Serena, was that the first time he went to train Serena, like she wasn't listening, she was ignoring him, right? And then he like hit her on her cap when she was sitting down for a break, and like that caught her attention because like I'm sure nobody's ever done that to Serena Williams. And he told her, like, without giving it away, like, there are 3 rules when you come here if you want to come here, otherwise I'm not training you. And he laid out the first 2 rules, and then he was like, you got it? And she was like, what's the third one? So he knew that they could build a rapport and relationship on pushing her. And I just think that that's where the business of training kind of dilutes the philosophy of who you are as a trainer. And the 3 of us have talked about that. And you guys, and I can say this, you guys haven't made any money or real money from training, right? So you were more philosophical. But like you said, you guys have made mistakes in the past, plenty of mistakes, I'm sure you'll share over time. But one of those things is like, well, you have somebody that's here that you want to work out, that you want to help get better. But how do you show that you can help them by doing basic things that they might need? Because that is not showing that you know the game of basketball. Look, it happens with coaches. It happens with me. Like, you just want to go and and draw on the board and call a play. And yeah, I did that. Everybody has ego. And all the greats have an ego, but how you can temper that ego and say, this is who I am. I'm comfortable. I can help you. This is the plan. If you want to come back, I'll be here. If not, then maybe that's not the person to work out, that works for you. And that just comes through experience and maturity. But also, I think some trainers, to be fair, are not in those situations because they need the money, because it's a business is how they put food on the table. I just don't think, not that they're not craftsmen, but it's hard for me to really put them in the player development realm and not just the quote unquote trainer realm when a lot of their decisions are made just based on money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there is a difference between a player development guy and a trainer. I think that a trainer is, like you said, like just more so trying to get you to work out for that workout. And a player development guy is somebody who is trying to see you multiple times a week, and you guys build on something from the ground up or whatever you're bad at.
Yeah. Okay. Who won that round? I guess there's no winner because
why not? Because you lost. There's no winner because you lost.
1-1-1. It's
cool.
tied.
I think the rest of the things I have are kind of just, I don't want to say pet peeves, but they're smaller in scope. My first thing that I just think is, and again, the question was phrased as, if your kid goes to a workout and they're doing this, leave. That was the exact vernacular. But I think if you are in a training session with a guy who is selling you on, hey, I was really good as a player, so I am now a good trainer, I just think that's completely irrelevant. I think it helps if you are a good trainer or a good coach and you played, but you can't just tell me, yo, I'm nice, and then you are running an effective workout. Those literally they're not the same thing. And this goes to something I have said a lot, and it goes back to time management, is I always said that I think guys, if there was ever to be like a training school or a certification to be a trainer, it should be getting a phys ed degree. Because if I played high level basketball and I have a phys ed degree, that degree means that I literally took classes on how to be effective in time management with a large group of kids. So I think when you run into a workout and it's just a guy that was good at basketball and that's it, I think that is completely irrelevant. Is there any point of contention on that, or?
No, I don't. I think that's just basketball. Just because you're a good player doesn't mean that you'd be a good coach or trainer. I definitely agree with that. It's two totally different things. So, maybe you can use some of your experience to your advantage, especially with speaking to kids, because trainers have become more mentors too. So you can use some of your experience, and you obviously will have more, the better you are and the more places you've been or whatever, you have more experience. So I think that's a great thing to lean on. You'll have more resources, more people in your Rolodex to reach out to, but they're all different crafts, and that's the beauty of it. It's training somebody, coaching somebody, like the whole. I wish it was just more intertwined, and I don't know if you have more pet peeves, but I have a small list of pet peeves with training, and
I got one more, and then my list is basically done. So go ahead.
Number one for me is being prepared. I hate seeing anybody train anybody, coach anybody, that they're winging it. And I really got this from my man, shout out to Abe Akimu, who I coached at Baruch and who coached with me my first year at CSI.
Friend of the pod.
Absolutely.
Very much. And I tell the story all the time. If he's listening, he knows what I'm going to tell him. My first practice at Baruch, at the end of practice, I was tasked to take 4 guys who were like our point guards to a side rim and put them through a workout. or end of the practice, put them through stuff. And this wasn't on the practice plan, right? So as I'm explaining to the 4 guys what we're going to do, and I had like literally a minute to really like come up in my mind what we're doing, Abe is standing to the side. And I realize this. Abe's quiet by nature anyway. He's just watching me. And he does everything. Long story short, he does everything that I ask in a workout. But every time I'm explaining something, he's just kind of to the side. And I kind of took it as like he wasn't completely bought in yet. He didn't trust what I was saying. But he did everything to the best of ability that I asked. Later down the road, he had brought up that story. We're now coaching together at Baruch. And he said, yeah, man, like long story short, I just don't like people who are just winging it or not prepared. So like I wasn't just going to do something because you told me to do it. And that was holding me accountable, right? Because how many times you walk in the cell and me just like, I've run workouts before. We could just do a little bit of this and then go into this. And he did not want that. The other 3 kids were going to do whatever I was going to say. And Abe was going to too. But he was going to call me out for being unprepared or for not giving him something that was going to get him better in that 15, 20-minute period. And that's something I've taken with me every day that I've planned a practice or done any type of workout. Usually people see me with paper folded up in my waistband. And during workouts, I like to write notes like, oh, I thought about doing this, but now I want to do this. So I hate that now. And shout out to Abe for giving me that skill. I just think it's unprofessional for trainers to be on their phone at all. And I know like people have kids and stuff. So I understand people have emergencies, but texting, checking social media, and being on your phone is just a very unprofessional thing, especially when people are paying you for your time. So I think that's tough. I wish, a big pet peeve of mine, I wish that trainers in general, I'm generalizing, some people do this, but collaborated more with the stakeholders in the player's life. But with, obviously, from my perspective, number one, being a coach. And especially being a Division III coach, now Division II coach, but always being a Division III guy at heart, where you only see your coaches from October 15th to the end of your season, which may be the second week of March if you're lucky. After that, you have all this time on your own. We can't do nothing with the kids. So with kids going to trainers, they're preparing the kid to come back to your program to where they're hoping the kids are hoping to cash in on what they're training. I wish that I had more conversations as a coach with trainers that, hey, what can I work on with this kid? Or how are you going to use this kid? Or, does it make sense for me to give this kid the double dribble drill step when he's not going to be allowed to dribble? Like should we teach him the double dribble drill step or not? So I wish, more trainers just reached out, and vice versa. I wish more coaches just took away our egos and reached out to trainers that we know that are working out with our kids and just had conversations. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. You're a professional. But in the end, the kid's going to come back and he wants to cash in our program. So please, help him develop some things that I would like to work with him on if we had him. And then the last thing is just to develop a clear plan for development. 4 weeks at a time, long-term plan, 3 months. If you're working with a kid, like, there should be a clear plan, not just like, we're going to get you better shooting. Like, what are we going to fix? What do we have to fix? What do we have to make more consistent? What about your jump shot is bad? What about your passing is bad? What are the goals? How can we measure this? Are there measurable goals? How can we do that? How can I show you you're getting better? And then how are we going to evaluate that the skill is getting better? But those are just my things. I think trainers are great. Like I've said before, like they always challenge the creativity in the game. But it just needs to be a lot more collaboration between trainers and coaches, especially at our level.
Should I finish the list real quick and then we'll get out of here?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So number whatever this is, and this is just something that like just really pisses me off, and I don't know why. Whenever you see a workout and it's, let's say there's 10 cones you got to do between the legs at every cone, and the guy being the trainer is just saying quick, 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 quick. First off, being the sarcastic jerk that I am, I'm just like, what do you want me to go like as slow as possible? But the second reason is like that is the problem, is that no one is teaching how to go from slow to fast. And then you see kids dribble in a game and people think relieving pressure is like doing 10 between the legs, moving at like this angle. It just doesn't really make sense. So that's something that annoys me. And then this one actually could spark maybe a last little bit of a conversation, but I hate when I see guys blatantly sacrificing the quality of the workout. And we kind of touched on this throughout this episode, the quality of the workout for the amount of money that they will be receiving for that workout. And I know Tibbs, me and you spoke about this on a live once, but if, in my opinion, if you have a, let's say, 16-year-old junior in high school who is bound to play college basketball, he should not be working out with anyone that is not at least in 7th or 8th grade. Because I just think the stuff that you are going to be doing, the level of understanding, even how serious each kid will take their approach to working out is so different that you are sacrificing, somebody's sacrificing. So to make that workout equal for everybody, you are either dumbing down the workout for the older advanced guy so that it fits for the younger, less skilled kid, or you're flipping it and you're running a crazy, complex, difficult workout, and the young guy is like, yo, what is going on? You know what I mean? So I think if you, going back to the original question, if you walk into a workout and you look like me and you're almost an adult and there's a kid, like an actual kid in your workout, you should probably leave. Unless there was some understanding before then, like, hey, you're working out with this 10-year-old and he wants to learn from you and he has the mindset that he's capable to run this workout with you. But I don't think you should ever see that large of an age gap in a workout. It's my last thing.
Got it. You got a rebuttal, Tibbs?
No, I think those are great points. And
Harry 3-0.
Let's just
it went from 1-1 to 3-0.
Yeah. Huge math guy.
No, I think that was great. I think a lot of things that we mentioned are some things that are overlooked by trainers, and Tibbs touched on it a little bit. It's so important for trainers and coaches to collaborate in an effort to, if we truly want this kid to get better, then you have to put your ego aside on both sides and be willing to collaborate. As a trainer, face it, your coach is the head honcho. You have to be able to work with him, and you can't be scared to reach out to him and hear some shit that you might not want to hear. Or something that's going to make your job a little harder. But I think we touched on a lot of good things today. With that said, I think we should wrap it up here. Episode 3, Run the Tibby podcast. Like, subscribe, 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, leave a rating, all that good stuff. And we will see you on episode 4. Peace.